members. It's currently 50. I'm Dorene Michaels.
We're here at the War Memorial, which is just an incredible place. And if you've not been here, why? You need to come here. It's not just historical. It's not just a place to come and just read some of the posters. It's a place to come and be introspective and realize that there are literally millions upon millions of your fellow citizens who are willing and able and have put their lives on the line just to protect our freedoms and our way of life. And it's a way to honor those who have dedicated their lives in some regard, and not just for the military people. What about all the families that are involved as well?
But even if you do come down and just read the posters, I guarantee you will learn something.
Oh yeah, you definitely learn something. And this guy teaches us stuff all the time. If you listen to KLH, you know that. With our salute to troops.
Great, yeah. Dan
Buttery from the War Memorial. Dan, thank you for having us here. We really appreciate it.
Good morning, and it's always an honor to do this tradition of Veterans Day with Dave and Dorene here in the morning.
And you got Jim Johnson here. Jim, American Legion. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me today.
No problem. Dan, what can we do to honor vets? Tell us about the mission of the War Memorial and what you guys do.
Originally, the statement is honor the dead, serve the living. And when this community came together right after World War II in Korea, it's the largest fundraising effort to build something, to do something unique. And so the architect who they tap, the Arch in St. Louis, Eero Saarinen, that's this guy. That's the guy who built this and designs this. He talks to 4 D-Day vets who stormed the beaches on June 6th, so 80 years ago, this last June, and he concepts what he wanted this to look like. It's a pillbox from Omaha Beach overlooking the water. It's a cross, it's a cruciform, it's a service member who's been killed in action lying in state. So we're actually, right now, we are in Memorial Hall, which is in the base of the crucifix. And they hold the crucifix up on a pedestal. And so when he designs this, these offices in these meeting rooms are elevated, holding our fallen service member up on a pedestal. All that symbolism. Now inside, you have USO, you have Paralyzed Veterans of America, their offices are here. And so you have the meetings and the operations serving our veteran community. And then the gatherings. So we have exhibits that we just recently opened, Medal of Honor, Prisoner of War Missing in Action. So there's a lot to take in, and with families.
Okay, and so speaking of, is it open every day of the week to the public?
It is.
Okay, so
yeah.
they could just
other than certain holidays,
sure.
But we have that posted. So 8 a.m. is when we open to the public. Entrance out the north by the parking lot, that's the main entrance in. And then seasonal, it's 6 or 8 p.m. So right now, as we're going into winter seasons, it's 8 to 6, 8 to 8 in the summer, especially when we have the beer garden out on the north end.
That's a great idea too, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have raised some good money with that.
$85,000 last year, and I'm waiting to see the final numbers for this year. And that's all proceeds, because we're a 501c3 nonprofit that runs this. So that all goes towards our bottom line, and the community gives back in multiple ways, and that's just one of many.
Jim, tell us about the American Legion and your involvement in what you guys do.
Well, the American Legion's been around since 1919, right? In Wisconsin, we have almost 500 American Legion posts. More American Legion posts than we have McDonald's.
Wow. Well, that's actually good.
Yeah. And there's about 46,000 Legionnaires that are serving our community. And we serve in multiple capacities in our programs to work with children through our Americanism, our children and youth. We have Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, and our national security. Through those pillars that the American Legion stands upon, we are able to serve our community that much better. So we have veterans serving veterans and strengthening America.
Explain what that means, serving the community. What kind of services are necessary, and what do you provide?
We want to make sure that every veteran is treated with respect. We launched a Be the One program, which first started off with buddy checks in 2019. So buddy checks basically is just checking on your buddy, right? Checking to make sure that someone's talking to them. And then from that morphed the Be the One, where it's basically a veteran wellness program, where we want to check on veterans. And those that are struggling, we're trying to get rid of the stigma of mental illness to make sure they're getting help. Because the leading problem for veterans is suicide. Between 17 and 22 veterans make the decision to kill themselves every single day. That's more committing suicide than is through combat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Okay, great. That's shocking to hear those facts. So what do you offer then a veteran who's struggling if they want to reach out to the Legion?
Well, right now what we found out is we have 988, right? Mm-hmm. So if you call 988 and press 1 for veterans, veterans are sent to a national crisis center operated by the VA. So if they're non-suicidal, they're given the option of having someone call them back. Well, sometimes there's a delay in that callback, and I've heard that from veterans. So we reached out to the Wisconsin Department of Health, who monitors and oversees the 988 system in Wisconsin. So if a veteran calls 988 and doesn't press 1, then that veteran stays within the Wisconsin Crisis Center. So we're having discussions with the Department of Health to have the American Legion be the person that can have that more immediate person to talk to for non-suicidal veterans. And we're also working with 211 to become a resource. So if a veteran wants to talk to somebody, they'll be able to call 211 once this is set up. Mm-hmm. They'll call 211 and ask to talk to the American Legion.
Oh, that's great.
Dan, the War Memorial, you talked about it being a huge community effort back in the day. How much money needed to be raised? And I imagine, like, if you were to do the calculation for inflation, how much that would be in today's dollars?
My understanding was about 5.5 million.
Okay.
But it was all raised. I mean, there were school kids out there doing penny drives. It was truly a community built this place.
Wow.
And it's a public-private relationship. I just want to circle back on something real quick, and Commander Johnson. The Legion has an outstanding veteran service office, and they will, so if you are a veteran and you contact them, they will assist you with pursuing your federal claims. And it's probably one of the best in the state.
Yes.
And so you ask, so if you can get upstream, if a veteran is having issues, health problems, financial, work, whatever, all that can be supported. And the American Legion under, Commander Johnson, who's also a fellow Iraq vet, we served together in country down the range 20 plus years ago now,
wow.
Hard to believe.
We
were in our teens
both.
back then.
Yeah.
But they do an outstanding job through their veteran service office. And so it's a myriad of support that they give back to the community, and I'm a member of the Legion myself. So,
do you find that people are still unfamiliar with the work that you do, let's say at the Legion?
Yes, yep, and we're trying to deliver more of that message out, because some folks think the American Legion is just those guys that do funerals and honor. We do that. Mm-hmm. We honor our dead as well, but there's tons of different programs we do through, like I'm the director of the Wisconsin American Legion Law Enforcement Career Academy, which is open to 52 kids that are interested in law enforcement, 26 girls and 26 boys. We put them through a week of basically a mini academy, and I get to wake them up at 05. And I was in the Marine Corps too, so we run.
So you get some enjoyment out of that.
Yeah,
Come on, let's be honest.
payback.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Just a little. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
But it's open for kids that are interested in law enforcement.
Right.
It's free. It's open to juniors and seniors in high school that are interested. The application process is coming up in January, and they can just apply and then come up to, it's hosted by the Wisconsin State Patrol up at Fort McCoy. Beautiful facility, and we have great partners through the Wisconsin Police Chiefs Association, Badger State Sheriffs, Wisconsin Sheriffs and Deputy Sheriffs, as well as the Wisconsin Correctional. Those are our main sponsors, plus we have other sponsors that give us funds to help us do that program.
All right, so those that are listening right now, how do they find the Legion? Website?
wilegion.org.
Easy enough?
Dan, thanks for having us down here. We love coming down here, and you're a short timer like I am.
I am. Kidney cancer due to burn pits, toxic exposure.
Oh my God.
Caught early. So it's. I mean, if you're going to have it, and just to put a pin in what you'd asked earlier, what you're doing here and what Tom Ewald and the Ewald Automotive Group are helping us get the message out about these veteran stories and the salute to service. So there's a lot of ways that you can support in the continuation of this. But this is all happening right now because of the partnership with Tom and his group. So, and if you're listening, share the message, share the stories that we share online and on your studio, because that's the only way that we keep the stories alive.
And those stories should never die.
Never.
I mean, so we as a community need to pull together and do whatever we can. And you guys are doing your part, and we appreciate that. Thank you for your service, both of you. thanks for having us here today as well.
Thank you so much.
Let's give it up for Jim, Dan Buttery, and we'll be back with more on the 2024. Good morning, KLH.